Shabbat shalom, everyone. There is a phrase, a seemingly innocuous phrase, that in a wide variety of situations and circumstances is completely parv. Vanilla, doesn't really register a whole lot of anything, doesn't really have a lot of charge to it. It just exists. But the same phrase, when it's used during a fight, during an argument, especially between people who really love each other, is like a matador waving that red cape in front of a bull. Anyone venture to guess what that phrase is? Here it is. And I want you to put yourself in the position. You're in the middle of a fight with someone that you love, and they say this to you. You're getting worked up, and they say, "Calm down." Calm down. Nobody in the history of conflict, of disagreement, of human emotion, has ever heard those words in a moment of tension or acrimony and said to themselves, "That's good advice. I should calm down." Because no matter the intention or the goodwill behind those words, the message that is invariably sent is, your emotions are not valid. You do not have reason to be upset, to be angry, to feel what you're feeling. That is what calm down means. But we do feel things. We're supposed to feel things. It is one of the beautiful things that makes us human. It is feeling. It is emotion that leads to action. And the great majority of change that happens in our world, in our society, culturally, socially, politically, ethically, comes not from neutrality and acquiescence, but through emotion. And because of that, I'm going to go ahead and disagree with a message that we have heard day in and day out, not just for this past week, but for a long time now, which is that our country needs to calm down. That we all need to stop caring so much and just fall into a calm and subdued order. My friends, when I asked us to think about the blessings of our country and to really think about the kavanah before we went into that blessing, is because those words are weighing on my heart really heavily, especially after this week, because I'm not the first one telling you this, but our country is not well. It's not well. We are divided more than at any point in our nation's history since the Civil War. We are distrusting of one another. We have dehumanized one another. And while we push ourselves farther and farther away from one another, the institutions, those very words that we just read in that prayer, the institutions that are the pride and glory, the pillars of a healthy and vibrant democracy, are crumbling before our eyes. Our courts have the lowest level of trust in American history. The two major political parties have reached an all-time low in approval rates from the country as a whole, and strikingly, even from folks registered within each of those parties. And because trust in our institutions is in the gutter, a populism focused on grievance, on victimization, and conspiracy theory has taken over the space that patriotism and civic pride once filled. And by the way, history has shown us that when grievance, victimization, and conspiracy theory win the day, the first people to be othered and vilified are us, Jews. It's a mess out there. It is. But don't tell us to calm down. But while our emotion is real, while our anger, our frustration, our sadness, our fear is valid, the way that we utilize it, the way that we understand and process it is crucial. And right now we are failing that act of processing. And so I want us this morning to look together at how we rise to this moment a bit differently. And I want us to do so through the lens of Torah. Because the rabbis of the Talmud see in our parasha this morning the model of how and how not to take our emotion into the world with us. So just to quickly catch us up in our Torah portion that Congregational Past President Steve Weisberg and Richard Lizelle read for us so beautifully this morning, that we're in Parashat Balak, the Moabite king Balak sees the Israelites as they move closer and closer into his territory and fears that they might be mighty enough, numerous enough to conquer him. Balak sees what the Israelites did to the Amorites and he freaks out. And he sends for the prophet Balaam and offers to pay him to curse the Israelites so that they will fall in line to him and also fall in battle to him. Now Balaam first rejects this offer, saying that he can only do what the God of Israel commands him, and God has told him not to go. But when he is pressed again, Balaam returns to prophecy to see if he can, in fact, get permission from God to go curse the Israelite people. And God responds and says, if you feel you must go, then go. But you will only do what I tell you. And then this crucial line comes into our text. Vayikam Bilam baboker, vayachavosh et atono, vayelech im Shaarey Moav. When he arose in the morning, Balaam saddled his donkey and departed with the Moabite dignitaries. And the rabbis see here an incredible parallel, because these words are almost word for word the same text that we get when Abraham rises with enthusiasm to sacrifice his son Isaac. They are almost word for word the exact phrasing of Akedat Yitzchak. And from this, the rabbis posit that Balaam is so motivated by hate, that he is filled with so much anger and enthusiasm of that anger, that he rises early in the morning before even his servants are awake. He saddles his donkey himself so that they can leave as soon as possible, so he can go curse this people and have them wiped out. While Abraham woke early in the morning to fulfill God's will, Balaam wakes up early in the morning because he is filled with anger. This is how Balaam's emotions express themselves. Through so much anger and hate that he can't wait to go and hurt this people that is heading to the promised land. And with that interpretation, Balaam becomes the model for our rabbis of what not to do with our emotions. That what we should not do with our anger, our frustration, all of these real, true, valid emotions is to let them well up, is to let them consume us and motivate us to harm someone or something, either with our actions or our words. But the fix, the remedy to this emotional malady is what happens next. Because Balaam does go, in fact, to stand above the Israelite camp, to curse them, to cause them destruction and harm, to essentially have them destroyed. But God changes his actions. And what comes out of his mouth is not curses, not anger, not hate, but blessings. That becomes the model. What do you do with emotion? What do you do with fiery, intense emotion? Do something good. Build something positive. Put blessings into this world. Now, it would be easy enough for the rabbis to just end here, to say, this is the example. Look, here's a pretty clear lesson about human emotion. Learn from this story and don't be like Balaam. But they go a step further, and this is an incredible teaching that I want us to walk away with this morning, because they knew, our rabbis knew, that we would need this reminder more than once a year when we read this parasha. They knew that we as humans are emotional beings who wrestle with our feelings day in and day out, and they knew there would be times in our lives when those strong feelings of anger, of frustration, would be more pronounced than normal. They knew it. And so what they did is they put the curses of Balaam, those words that were first that fire in his stomach, but turned into blessings and light and goodness when they left his lips, at the beginning of our liturgy each and every morning. You can see it for yourself. If you have your Siddur, you can turn to page 61, and right there under Modeh Ani or Moda Ani, you will see Ma Tovu Oalecha Yaakov Mishkenotecha Yisrael. And then this beautiful meditation that follows. Now the sources tell us, the most pshat meaning of this tells us that the reason that we say those words, Ma Tovu Oalecha Yaakov Mishkenotecha Yisrael, is because we are giving respect to synagogues, to the buildings that Jews have constructed, and using a meditation that when we are in this holy space, that our words will be used for good. But I don't think that's the whole story. I think our rabbis want us to start each and every day with the words of blessings that came from a place of deep emotion. I think our rabbis want us to remember that emotion is not some awful blemish by which we should feel embarrassment or shame. I think our rabbis want us to know that emotion is the vehicle for change, for progress, for taking a broken world and getting it to work to fix it. But crucially, our rabbis want us to remember that change does not come through violence, through hate, through injury, or through vilification. Change comes through blessings. My friends, my family, don't calm down. There is so much going around in this world. There is so much going on outside of our doors and our communities that deserves our attention. It deserves our emotion, and it deserves our dedication to repair and to heal. Don't calm down. But with these powerful emotions, let's use them in the way that God intended. That the work of our hands and the words of our lips should be full of meaning and feeling and significance, but all of it charged with blessings. All of it infused with unity, with building, with creating, with love. There is so much that is broken. There is so much around us so badly in need of healing. So let's look at all of it and together say, Ma Tovu. How good it is to rise each morning with the capability of filling this world with blessings. Shabbat Shalom.